Welcome to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand.
Episode 10, número 10, with my compadre, mi hermano,
Mis amigo.
James Redmondinhos.
Throw in my little bit of Spanish as well.
How are
Mis
you,
amigo.
sir?
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
mis
And it's not
amigos.
mis, it's mish.
Yeah.
Mish amigo. You know, it just sounds better. But now I'm custy lad, how's yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Listen,
Little bit.
It's
We
been
had
a,
it.
it's been a long week, but we're here now. It is a Wednesday.
are
We normally
indeed.
do these on a Monday. We will be back next time on Monday, of course, back here at Jurgen's.
Oh, yeah.
Got this one behind us because we are going to, of course, be looking forward to the Premier League game. We did the Champions League trophy the last time. And
I'm on it.
did you get it?
See the way that I done
We
the...
just switched the trophies.
see the way that you said we are in Jurgens, and I was like, oh, yeah, like with the German.
There you go. Well, he's
I'm not just a pretty face, man.
well, exactly.
And
Yeah,
it might not even be there.
That's a fact. Well, not that bit, the one before. But anyway, episode 10, we're back in Jurgen's. We've actually got the back of the pub today. Normally you guys will see us out the front where the big picture on the wall is, but today we've come into a little booth. We've got the trophy here.
Oh, yeah. Same place,
Picture.
just a different location.
Just
Well,
at the
that
back.
same location, just different place in the location.
And I have to say, first time today I've had a glance of Jurgen's food here.
Hey.
Decent. Smells very good. Couple of happy
Have a little
punters just
scram in a
left.
bit, aren't we, lads? We're going to have a little scram in a
we'll
bit.
try it out and we'll let you know what we think to it.
course.
But it's good to be back. Before we get into the main body of Hot Kopics this week, of course, remember, like, comment and subscribe.
As always.
Hit us up in the comments after with what you think to our Hot Kopics, and then James will, of course, and me, will reply in the next, well, the first kind of
First couple
innit?
of hours. And last
Once
thing
we
before we get
shared.
into the first topic, make sure you get your ass down to Jurgens. And also, if you say that you watch Hot Kopics, then Alex, what did he get?
You get 20% off food and drink. So
Hinge, I love this.
you can't say we don't look after you in the city of Liverpool and beyond.
Of course.
So love it. Right, my brother, it's good to be back with you.
Wash.
Let's talk about Liverpool Football Club then, shall we?
Where do we start? That's the question,
Well,
because there's
listen.
actually been quite a few things going on. And I think, you know, one of the big topics to talk about overall, but you can break it
Kopics.
down into topics to talk about, but to break it down separately is the midfield, because there's been quite a few things. So obviously we'll talk about them individually, but you've got the Oxlade-Chamberlain situation where he's talked about that he wants more game time, therefore he might be looking elsewhere. You've obviously got Genie leaving, you've got certain injuries. So where do you want to start? Because we've got a few places
Let's
where
start
we
with
could.
Ginny.
Let's go.
Some of the quotes that we heard about
Yep.
him last week that were direct, they weren't really misconstrued or anything.
course.
He speaks great English, so that's never going to be
Yep, an issue.
something that we can blame him on. Yeah, an issue. But he did say he can't lie. He is not as happy as he could be with how things have gone at Paris so far. I mean, I spoke to Parisian Londoner a few weeks back, and he said to me even a few weeks back that they weren't really happy with how he started the season. You mentioned just before we went on air, obviously we're struggling in midfield now. We're going to give you an injury update in the specifics later. But does that maybe leave the door back open for him, for us?
No, not for us. Genie at Liverpool is done, and even if Genie doesn't play for PSG, you've got to understand money was a factor. Now, I'm not saying Genie is just a money-grabbing player, but you've also got to look into the context of what does he mean when he's not happy at PSG, because the reporter could, and I don't know what the reporter asked him exactly, but he could have worded it like, what do you perceive at your time at PSG so far with the fact you haven't played as much as you maybe thought? And then Genie said, well, of course, I'm not happy, but I don't think he said he's not happy at PSG or the way they're treating him, but any player is unhappy to not play. Does that make sense? So I feel like this headline has been made as if to say he's gone to PSG, feels like he's made a mistake and he wants to come back. I don't think that's the case. I think he's happy to get a wage at PSG. I think he wants to play week in, week out for sure, because he's a winner. We forget that in our team he was integral to all of our success. This Liverpool team was built on Genie Wijnaldum's legs, in the words of Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
So I just think of it as he's vital to us. System is everything though as well. So maybe what he offered to us, which was legs, reliability, and the fact that he was just all over the pitch, he was pressing. Maybe PSG don't need exactly what he brings, because they've got Garnagay, who's someone who can hold the play. They've got Verratti, who's a
yeah.
different type of
Great
player to
player,
Genie
him.
as well. And then obviously they've got their attacking midfielders, the like of Draxler, Di Maria, Messi, wherever you want to play them. So I don't think he wants to leave. I just think he's unhappy with the fact he's not doing what a footballer wants to do, which is play footy.
It's sad to see, though, isn't it, when you see the quotes coming out
Do
from
you think
someone that we love so much.
Do you think he can rejuvenate, even though it's only a few months in, but do you think he can rejuvenate his career at PSG? You've just said a PSG fan weren't happy with this start, but you've got to give people time, like the way Naby Keita, any of our players, Robbo, who didn't play straight away, Fabinho, who didn't play straight away, if we just written them off after the first few months, it's daft to do so.
Yeah.
But then we see what they can do at a later date. Genie could end up being very useful for
of course
PSG, in
he
my
could.
opinion.
Listen, they haven't bought him for any reason. They've seen how great he's been for Liverpool. They saw Barcelona sniffing around. They said, actually, we want a bit of that. Snatched him away really under their noses. Obviously, money was a factor. However, maybe he dodged a bullet. I mean, PSG, they're still probably second in the table, maybe first. First. Then listen, if he goes and wins a league in France this season and reclaims it back off Lille, then I would say that's a great first debut season. And then you build on that. You go, right, maybe I played 10 games this season, which is not enough considering I played every single game for Liverpool in the last how many seasons in a row.
Yeah.
Second season, you go, right, now is where Verratti's a year older. Listen, Ronaldo's not a spring chicken himself, but these lads are getting on. So if he can start putting in man of the match performances, maybe 2 in a row, then he has to start.
You know where I think he gets his game time? The same way he got his game time for Liverpool at the end. Because let's be real, when we bought in Thiago was supposed to be the Genie replacement. It was then going to be Henderson, Fabinho, Henderson and Thiago in that midfield. Thiago obviously had his injury concerns and whatnot. And also we had many other injury concerns. That meant that Genie was just available. Where I see him, and this isn't to talk about PSG, but where I see Genie breaking into that team is that. Because even though PSG have decent squad depth, if you actually analyse it for what it is, it's not as strong as City's, it's not as strong as Chelsea's. So if they do get lose a Verratti, or if they do lose an Idrissa Gana Gueye, you then start to see Genie maybe getting given a chance, because that's the way he got given his chance at Liverpool. I think he'll sort it out, lad, you know what I'm saying? I think Genie's a great player, and he's someone who capitalises on an opportunity, and he's an opportunist. Is that the word?
That's a great word.
Opportunist. So when he does, I'm trying to use my big vocabulary, people, do you know what I mean? So I do think he will end up being a success at PSG, but I just think, kind of to segue into the next topic, we made a big mistake letting him go.
Yeah, and
he's just got the same problems there than what he would have here.
Yeah, and we've continued to have injury problems and continued to have them in midfield. Yeah. Obviously, Harvey Elliott out for a long, long time. But then you look at someone like Curtis Jones, who was breaking through. I mean, there were reports that he had picked up an injury with the England under-21s, but then the other night I saw him run half the pitch and put it on a plate for Emile Smith-Rowe.
Yeah, yesterday came up that he's all right.
Yeah,
there was
so
concerns
okay
that he was going to be
I'd play him in the next game, to be honest, against Watford. Keita has played 3 full games for Gini and not got injured. Henderson come out unscathed. Trent is now okay after not going with England for these qualifiers, but Hendo came on for about 15 minutes last night.
Yeah,
didn't do much. Obviously, England weren't great at all last night. If you want an international watch, there it is. So it's nice to see a lot of players coming back, but also Thiago's still out. And there's probably a couple more as well.
Well, Harvey Elliott, who's another midfielder in our team, based on what we've seen to this point, that's another option. So even though Curtis is sound, say if Curtis, God forbid, does get injured, then you're relying on an injury-prone Naby Keita and injury-prone Oxlade-Chamberlain to go in and fill his boots. And then I just don't know how that's smart when you've let Genie Wijnaldum go. There's even reports as well that Oxlade wants to leave the club, because I don't think the injury crisis has hit yet. Do you get what I'm saying? I just think it's slowly on the horizon, because now if you look at the list, Thiago, Harvey Elliott, Jota, who's obviously got injured with Portugal, there's probably one other name on that list, but we've already had the likes of Trent, who's been out, Firmino's been out. Like, it's not like this is just a few little injuries here and there. It does seem to be kind of a similar pattern, but I wouldn't say it's crisis yet. But it's still not ideal when you're letting players like Genie go.
If Fox did leave, there were reports, Robbie was talking about it on AFTV, that he could be going back to the Arsenal. I mean, when you actually look at his career and how it's kind of panned out at Liverpool, it brings almost a tear to my eye, because the first 18 months, explosive. And then since then, very stop-start. We have seen, if someone put a reel together of all of the Ox's big assists, big moments, big goals for Liverpool, it would look very good.
Yeah, people would be like, wow, like in 20 years' time, exactly. Like, oh my God, Oxlade-Chamberlain must have been a sick player.
Which he was. However, can you really deny him if he wants to go back there? And could he go back into that Arsenal midfield?
He will get into the Arsenal midfield, because it's not really that hard to get into. Of course, you always have to think about injuries. But what's
Xhaka's out, isn't he?
Oxlade-Chamberlain? Oxlade-Chamberlain's position is a weird one, because why did he join Liverpool? One, because he likes the club, but two, he wants to play midfield. And Oxlade is in such a weird position.
And to win trophies.
Of course, and Oxlade is in such a weird position where he wants to play midfield, yet he's had all these injuries, so we can't really say. If you're a player in his position that's had the unfortunate circumstances that have presented him, then how can we just say you deserve to play it? You should really be trying to play any way you can in the team, whether that's a false nine, winger, full-back. Yeah. But I thought we should have sold Oxlade-Chamberlain in the summer. Yeah, I just think to myself that out of all the midfield options, with Curtis Jones coming through, Harvey Elliott now as well, then you've got Thiago, Henderson and Fabinho who are all ahead of him. Naby Keita, who was a bigger investment, he's also younger. I don't care who's done more, I care about the future of the team. And, I will always appreciate Oxlade-Chamberlain for what he's given us, but I don't see how he gives us more, because he's not going to get a run of games together. I think Oxlade is one of them players you need to give him a run of games for him to really improve. And he's not going to be playing midfield if he does play. Most likely he's probably going to be more further forward. God knows, we might even ever see him at right back if we ever have another problem there. Like,
True that.
That's why I think he should go. I don't know whether it should be to Arsenal necessarily. I don't think it should be a loan deal like it's been reported. He should just leave and we should cash in for the 15 to 20 million that we can get to him. That is not me taking away how much of a sick man Oxlade-Chamberlain is, because he is a top man. But at the end of the day, in terms of what he offers to the team, which is what matters most, I just think it's ran out of time. It's ran out of time for Ox.
Sad that.
Do you agree, or would you if you had the option right now when it gets to the summertime, or even in January, would you think it'd be better to keep Oxlade or replace him? Obviously, we need to think about getting a replacement in as well. That also plays into a factor. But do you think he's got more to offer at Liverpool? Because
such a difficult question for me.
He's been injury-free since
I'm
February.
literally 50-50 from saying keep him as a false 9, as another midfield/attacking option for next season. But at the same time, it wouldn't be right for us to just keep him not doing much, where he could actually be playing somewhere else. Yeah,
and we can actually try and go to the next stage, bring in someone younger, a younger midfielder. We know that Liverpool have a good eye for scouting, like Shimmercash, who the fuck knew Shimmercash, you know what I mean? We were all
Great
going
international break for him, by the way.
to Simmer, you know what I mean? We didn't even know what it meant, like his name. But then he ended up being a baller, and now we've got 2 great left backs. So I'd rather us let Oxlade go, where I don't think there's going to be much more, and bring in someone new, where it just adds a little bit more light to the team.
The midfield conundrum at Liverpool right now is I just can't predict it, because I thought we'd sell Keita, and now he's going to play a lot of games this season. He started quite well this season. Obviously, like I just said, 3 games in a row for Gini in the international break, so he's starting to prove himself a little bit in terms of injury-free.
A bit more,
A little bit, but then if you sell him, you've got to keep Ox. If you sell Ox, you've got to keep him. You can't sell both. If you sell both, which 2 or 3 do you bring in? Does Curtis then get a future? It's Hendo obviously just got a new contract. Fabinho's not getting younger. Thiago not getting younger. I feel like up front, obviously the lads aren't 18, 19, but up front, I'd say we're good for about another 2 years. Defence-wise, we're good for maybe 4 years. In goal, 4 years. The midfield for me is the one that I look at and say we're going to need to do some major surgery here once in the next 18 months, at least, because some of the names that are in there now won't be there in 18 months, I don't think.
I get what you're saying. I don't think it's as bad as maybe some people think when it comes to the age of certain players. Like, I think Henderson can do his job in this system for many more years. Fabinho, I think he's only 27 or something like that.
Fabinho's 30, you know.
He's 27. We can look that up, we can fact check that, but I know he's not 30. People, I'll tell you that for free. He's like 27. He's still a young spring chicken, half-fab. So when you remove Fabinho, Henderson and stuff like that, is he 27? I fucking told you. I
thought he was 29.
Fabinho, Thiago and Henderson, they're obviously getting closer. So Fabinho will remove him because he's going to be in the team till he's fucking 32, 33, let's be real, because he's just got them attributes. However, beyond them, you've got Curtis, you've got Harvey Elliott, and then let's say you bring in, I don't know, a Camavinga or a Jude Bellingham, or just like a young midfielder, because I know they're very unrealistic. That's when it doesn't look as bad, because people were talking about our squad depth. It's not as bad as some people suggest. We've got a decent enough backup goalkeeper in Kelleher now. You know what I mean? It's not world class.
Made his first cap for Ireland though the other night. They won 4-0.
I think he'd probably do a job in some Premier League teams, some like the bottom 3 and stuff like that. He needs to prove a little bit more to go beyond that point. The back 4, I think we've got the best defensive squad depth in the league. Matip, Virg, Gomez, who's established, Kanate, who's established, Nathaniel Tini Van fucking Phillips,
I love how you point to me when you say that.
Who was also established in our team. And then you look at the full backs, left back. I mean, right back is the only area for concern. Then you've got the midfield. Again, I don't think it's as bad. I just think we've got a lot of injury-prone players. And then even up front, you've got Jota, I like Origi. I don't know about what people think. I like Origi. I think if you give Origi a run of games, he does a job for you. And I think he's shown this season he does still want, or he still has a point to prove at Liverpool. So it's really just the winger positions in terms of depth that I'm maybe concerned about. Otherwise, I believe by the time it gets to 2024, which is what we've got to talk about, because Klopp, you know, what is a good manager? It's not just someone who gets you to the heights. It's someone who, when they leave, they can keep you there, in my opinion. And I believe that Jurgen Klopp is setting up that type of system. So he knows the young players we've got, like Harvey Curtis, Kate Gordon, and then he's going to bring in a few more. And then over time, we'll see the likes of Ox. I don't see Naby having a long, luxurious Liverpool career either, but I still think he can do a job in the meantime. And then that's the way it'll conclude.
Yeah, listen, it probably will end up that way.
I think we'll be all right.
But there's a lot of chops and changes with that one to go for sure. Let's talk about then the return of the Premier League this weekend. Early kickoff.
The
Saturday,
Premier League.
Watford away. Now, as we mentioned last week with Tony Kop on the podcast, we probably owe them. We definitely owe them at least one.
Yeah.
And then the lads after, Atletico, who we play next week, we owe them 2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Watford, because shouts that Alisson and Fabinho might not be around after the international break. They both started for Brazil the other night. Firmino didn't go, he was at home.
They can, yeah.
Is that definite? Like,
Yeah,
they definitely won't be playing?
Definitely won't be playing. I mean, I could be wrong, but from what I've heard, then they're not going to be
So
making the
who's
game.
in goal and in midfield?
So Kelleher's going to go in goal, because it's not going to be Adrian. And then Fabinho will probably be... I think you'll move Henderson to the holding role. You'll play Curtis and possibly Naby as well. Which, listen, I would not mind seeing a little Naby and Curtis combination, because even though that is not our best midfield, I like the thought of possible partnerships in the side, and Naby and Curtis could be a very solid partnership, and I think that's the midfield we'll go with in the game. And it's good to try new things, because you want to see what works, and the only way you can do that is if you utilise your squad depth.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're playing your best 11 every game, even though it's obviously good because the cohesion stays and stuff like that, it's also good to see other options. And I think Naby Keita and Curtis Jones, that could be really dangerous in terms of making other midfields and defences think more, because Henderson, even when he's going forward, he's decent at it, but I mean, he's not as good as Naby, he's not as good as Curtis, he's not as direct as them two players, he's not as creative as them two players. So if you've got two more midfielders who are looking to create, I think that could open a different problem for other sides, especially Watford.
It would be interesting to see actually how many midfield combos Klopp's used in 6 years.
Look at how Watford have done so far. You carry on your point, but I want to look at
they've just sacked the manager. They've got Claudio Ranieri coming back in. Dilly ding, dilly dong.
Dilly ding, dilly dong.
So he's in the fold now. Listen, he's won a Premier League. He's done big things in terms of international and club football.
Other than the Premier League.
Not for a while though, to be honest.
Other than the Premier League, I've
never
never
great for him since that.
rated him as highly. That's why the Premier League is all the more special for Claudio Ranieri.
I mean, that's one of the best sporting achievements, full stop, of all time.
I think it's the best. In my lifetime,
that Leicester won,
not
so you have to give him that. However, not been great for Ranieri since. Will Watford get that new manager bounce? They'll probably have a new one by the time.
That's what I want to bring up to you. So, by the way, Watford are 15th. They have won 2 games, drew 1 and lost 4. The new manager bounce. Big problem for Liverpool from time to time. Usually when another team gets a new manager, that can be quite an issue because they're up for it. They've got
and
the
they've
morale.
had 2 weeks to prepare for this, by the way.
This is the worst time to play Watford.
Yeah.
The worst time. First game after an international break, which again, we've shown tendencies before. International breaks aren't too good for us. So I think these next 6 games, and I said it on last week's show, so yeah, again, let me just get our fixtures up, because Watford, people will think that's a must-win game, and that is a must-win game, even with the injuries. No Alisson, no Fabinho. We absolutely should win that fixture. But when you consider that we've got Watford, then we've got Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, then Man United, then Preston in the Cup, which again, must-win game, must-win game. Brighton, and then Atletico Madrid once more in the next 6 fixtures. You need to win at least 5 of those games. At least 5 of those games. And the other one, I'm expecting it to be at least a draw, and I'm expecting that to be one of the games against Atletico. Otherwise, with the Brentford result, with the Man City result, and I've banged on about them a lot over the past few weeks for good fucking reason, because we bottled in both of the games, this is all the more a must win. If we draw to Watford, then even though I still think we're in the title race, so many people will write Liverpool off even more. We were right, the squad depth isn't there, and maybe that is true, but this should be enough to be able. And if we do not beat Watford with Naby and Curtis, then the squad depth point just only proves our point in the summer for being upset.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong there. You've hit the nail on the head. I think we're going to see a lot of different combos that maybe we haven't seen in the next 6 games. You just read them out there. We're going to see maybe Konate is going to play a big part in those
He should
Champions
probably
League
get
or
the
Cup
Champions
games,
Leagues.
which I am looking forward to. But at the same time, massive, crucial period this for Liverpool. And on Saturday in particular, the first thing we need to do is shut that crowd up for the first 20 minutes.
Yep.
The first 20 minutes against this
Kill
team.
the game.
New manager, fans are excited, haven't played in 2 weeks, they're fresh, had more time to prepare than Liverpool. We've been flying players all over the world.
The hope out of their hearts.
Ranieri's had a picture of us on the wall for 2 weeks going, who's ready for this one then? Who's ready for it? They are going to be up for this.
Up for it.
Elton John might even come out and sing Rocket Man before to get them all G'd up. I don't know. It's going to be a very, very hard game, this one.
And they
so
have got
first
certain
half is
individuals.
crucial.
Yeah, 100%. I don't even think it's the first half. You hit a
20
nail on the
minutes.
head. 20 minutes. Like, the first 20 minutes is where you're going to need to kill them up and rip the hope out of their hearts, because at the end of the day, they will have that bounce and they will have that energy. The fans will be up for it because they're at home. But they have got good individuals to worry about as well. The likes of Saru, we've been linked with, caused us problems before. These type of tricky players, they can be an issue. So Liverpool, even though we're going to need to be compact, I think if we can get 2 past them in the first half an hour, then that's the game for us, you know what I mean? But we can't be going 1-0 up and then going 1-1 and then having that shaky affair that we had with Brentford and Man City. Otherwise, we're just setting ourselves up for disaster. And if we perform like that again, then who's to say we're not going to perform like that consistently? Because the reason why I don't put Manchester United in the title race one single bit is not because I'm a Liverpool fan and I can't fucking stand Man United. It's because I see the way they play, even when they win. The shit, it's not sustainable to go ahead over a 38-game season to get enough points to go above Man City, to go above Liverpool and Chelsea. That's bollocks, because they don't play good football. The only way they've won most of their games is last-minute winners. So I just think to myself, that's not sustainable, and this is not sustainable if you want to win a league title, conceding goals at the back. The reason why I've still got a little bit of hope is because I saw how good we were defensively before Watford, and how we did there. You know, we were, not Watford, before Brentford, and we only conceded like 1 goal all season, or whatever it may have been, and Verge was looking solid. So Matip, in my opinion, has been the best centre-back for us this season. So I do believe we'll win. But I'm nervous as fuck as well, because I don't want us to do the same thing we've done against Brentford and City.
Defence, it has to be so strong. Virgil just scored for Holland the other day, which is
a lot
always
of our
good
players
sign.
have had a great international break, to be fair.
And that's good to see. But obviously, the main priority is that they will get home safe. Even if you scored a hat-trick, you could break your leg, which is no good for anyone, or your country or your club. So I'm looking especially at the back 5 this weekend. I'm looking at names that are going to be coming in that we haven't really been used to. Kelleher, how does he deal with the atmosphere behind him? Does he drop a shot?
Well,
is Virgil
going to... 11 that we think is going to start. So obviously we're going to go with Kelleher. And this is taken into consideration for Fabinho and Alisson out of the team. If they're in, then they start. But Kelleher in goal, no doubt. Left back. Now, here's a topic of conversation, because we were just... I don't know if you said it before the air or on the show. Shimakash has been amazing. I think he's got the most dribbles, past players, or something over the international break. And stats are stats, and they're for much.
Games.
But still, like, he's played well for us. He's played well for his international team.
Robertson, 2 wins in a row with Scotland, though.
2 assists in one of the games as well. So, listen, it's a
Let us know in the comments.
It's a good headache to have. Honestly, it's amazing. I love the way sometimes we can have these options where it's like, oh, you've got 2 great players in one position. I wouldn't be against seeing either of them, but I would still edge Robbo, just because he's been starting more consistently.
We'll give Robbo, Matip and Verge at the back.
Verge, no, don't fix what's not broken.
So it's Trent, 4 out of 5, really, and then you've got
Trent at the right back,
Trent
because
right
he's back.
He's back now.
Midfield, I think it's going to be Henderson in the holding role, and then what I said before, Naby and Curtis.
I'd agree with you. Jota out, obviously, so it's the 3 lads up top, the 3 amigos.
Mane, Bobby and Salah.
Yeah, off the bench,
if Salah is on form, we will win this game. If Salah is on the form that he's been, the way he has been all season, we will win this game, no doubt, in my opinion. Because he's just one of them, even if it's a bit of a stalemate and Watford's a defender and we can't really break them down, he's the one player that can break them down no matter what.
Do you know
we saw it against City.
I wouldn't be that surprised if someone like James Milner played in this game.
In the midfield?
Only because I saw a video of the lads training yesterday. They put out a little reel of all goals that went flying in yesterday. I think, obviously, they haven't got the same number of players that they usually have in training, so they were playing, it looked like a 5-a-side kind of game. And Milner looked good. And I'm not saying, oh, you've scored a few goals in training, you should be in the team. But with the games that we've got coming up over the next 6 weeks, he's someone that is going to have to do a job for us at some point.
Well, Alexis, if we have got a midfielder there in our disposal who in training is playing better than Naby, then he should play. He should play because, you've got to go off momentum, you've got to go off form. And what would be the best tactical decision for that game? We've saw many times before. Some of our worst defeats have came with Naby in the midfield, and I'm not saying it's Naby's fault, but there is a defensive element that we lose when Naby is there. If Milner's there, then you've got a more composed, more set out defence. I think it's just my FIFA brain wanting to see Naby and Curtis in the midfield, but it could leave us a lot of spaces open in the midfield and a chance to go ahead and lose the midfield. I don't know from the top of my head their midfield, but that's usually where you win your games of footy.
Who is in their midfield these days?
I'm going to have a look at their last game against Leeds, which they lost 1-0, but their line-up. So their midfield consisted... they've got Josh King as well. I forgot that they brought him in. There's no one there. They've got Musa Sissoko. There's no one there, really. And some fella called Kuche. We should be able to win that midfield battle. The only thing that concerns me is that they play the 2 players in front of the back 4. Therefore, I think they're going to be very, very defensive.
Could be a 6, really.
Exactly. So they're going to put all them behind the ball. So we need to make sure we win that midfield battle, which I think we will, and then also get the shots off.
Yeah, and if it's Josh King up front with Sarr running off, that is danger. And, Robbo on that side, they're going to obviously target Trent as well on that right side. So the ball's going to be flying in.
The cycle and GK could be starting. Ben Foster, he could be in goal for this game as well. So that'll be interesting to see. Do you know what? Yeah. I actually hope Ben Foster has a good game, but we still win. Do you get what I'm saying?
I hope he records like a top bins for us.
Yeah.
But then we can still watch the vlog and have a little bit of a joke.
I hope we score 2 world-class goals and he makes 10 world-class saves. That's the way I hope it goes, just for him. On the bench as well, little fun fact. There's a player called Joseph Gelhardt. He's a youngster. I went to the same sixth form as he did. He was a year below me,
Scouser, yeah?
so I was a year above him. Yeah, he's a Scouser, and he plays for Leeds. He used to play for Wigan, and then he moved to Leeds a couple of years ago, and he's been on the bench ever since.
Love that.
Top young prospect. Make sure you watch out for him.
Absolutely. Listen, another thing that's happened, we'll get into...
God, he's going to score in this game now. Geoffrey, you better not score, lad, for fuck's sake.
We'll get into what we thought about the Liam Smith fight as well, which was at the M&S Bank Arena last week. Before we do, Newcastle. We haven't spoken about it together.
Lads, I know. What do you reckon on that?
Well, I did a little reaction video on Matty Renton's channel and the Magpie channel. And basically I said, and I got a bit of hate in the comments for it, but basically what I said was, we, as Liverpool fans, don't really need to take this too seriously until, I would say, maybe consistently they're finishing 2 or 3 places below us.
I agree.
Yeah? And I got hate for that typical bit of red.
No,
He's never even been to Liverpool. Bitch, I live in L1. How about that one?
That's bollocks. First off, this is the most Scouts, non-Scouser that I know, first of all, so get your facts straight. And second of all, that you're right. Right now, as we speak, we're talking about this takeover, but Newcastle fans, with mad respect, you could get relegated this season. Like, unless you go out and spend mad in January and you get a much better
even
coach.
That's not going to save them, I don't think.
It could save them from relegation if they make a few good signings and get a good coach. But they're not going to be in the top 6 this season, or even next, in my opinion. You've still got to bear in mind. I mean, I've heard Newcastle can spend quite a bit of money in the summer, like 200 million or something. But nowadays, it's not just as easy as going out and getting the player that you want. Because everyone has money. Because everyone has money and everyone has wages to offer. Yeah. And of course, there's them little behind the scene offers, like, we'll buy you a house, we'll do this. Them little type of things that back in the day made a difference. Now, it's like these things do have a factor. Do you get what I'm saying? So when it comes to this, it might not just be as rosy overnight. If they make a bad coaching decision, say if they bring in a coach that is better than Steve Bruce but still isn't up to notch, then how do you expect them to get from A to B and become a top 4 team? I think we don't have to worry about Newcastle for the way we didn't have to worry about City for the first few years. I think we've got to wait 4 or 5 solid seasons before they even start talking about the top 4. I think that's when they'll become a top 6 side, just about, because they will have the investments. And listen, their investment is Joe. I think their owners have got more money than the other top 10 richest clubs combined.
Yeah, I saw that.
Something. Yeah. That's insane. So if you can work your way around, because their problem right now with Mike Ashley and what they've done for them is he didn't give them the right tools, like in terms of sponsorship. So in terms of making authentic money, like actually being able to make money within your club, because you can't just put your own money into it, of course. That's why I think, they're going to know people. They're going to know people who are going to sponsor the team. They're going to make, a new stadium and stuff like that. So they're going to get more flowing in between the squad. Therefore, they're going to be able to spend more. That's why I think over time they will get better. But right now, they're nothing to worry about. But that, when I saw the money that these have, this is dangerous, my G. Did you see the way did you see the clubs all come together to say, like, we didn't want this to happen?
Which kind of on their side, they'll be like, oh, fuck them, like, we've got money. And I hear that because, you want your team to have loads of money. But at the same time, I mean, it's quite rich, especially coming from the Super Six, the Super League teams. We don't want that. But you try to break away. So that I do see that the irony there in the 19 teams, and 6 of those teams were into the Super League. Yeah. So you can't really stand on your high horse now. However, like I said, bro, they are going to spend in January. Are they going to finish in the top 10? Probably. Are they going to buy... and let's be honest, Newcastle as a city, great people, a lot of similarities to Scousers, 100%. But if you're someone like, I don't know, Coutinho, and you're available for maybe 30 mil, the city, it plays a big part. London's already established, as we know. All the players want to play in London. But then players come up here to be heroes, and it changes their life forever, and they're remembered in a different way than if they did become famous in London or great in London. We love them up here more, I would say, And then, like London, Liverpool, Birmingham, Manchester, you can just... But Newcastle, I don't think players would want to live there. Unless you've got a big house. I don't know. I think there's elements where, like, some people probably wouldn't want to live in Liverpool, but it's like that will have an impact on some players, but I don't know, not for everyone. Do you know what? That will impact some players, though. Like, some players will go, Newcastle, they've got loads of money,
100%,
but
100%.
I'm not going there.
With most clubs, isn't it? In terms of the money, let's not overstate what money can do in football, because it can do wonders. We saw what it's done with Chelsea, City, but at the same time, you look at Everton, they got billionaire owners, and we didn't stop hearing about it when they did. And look where they are, they finished 10th last season, and that's now, I think, their third season.
They finished 10th last season.
And that was the lowest position they had all season. Like, I think their lowest before the last day of the season was 9th in terms of what they had all year, and then they went 10th. But this is what I'm saying, they've had them moments for like 3 years. Aston Villa, very rich owners, and of course have improved as a club, but do you see them overtaking Chelsea anytime soon? Do you see them overtaking City? I don't know. But if there is any team that this is going to impact in the long run with FSG and the way they invest, it is most likely going to be us out of anyone in the top four, because United will always have the money to stay in that top four. Same with City and same with Chelsea.
Interesting one. Again, this could be one of the best things to ever happen. And listen, there's big controversy about where these guys have got the money from, what they do, the human rights.
Yep.
Like, we can't just look over that and throw all your morals out the window because you've got
there's
Mbappe
definitely
and
some
you can get
seedy
in the
business
Champions
going
League.
on, of course.
It's more than seedy. They're beheading people and all shocking human rights for women and people of, LGBTQ people and that.
When
But
you've
anyway,
got that much, we won't go into specifics, but when you've got that much dough, everyone is a little bit seedy. You're all very seedy. Like, at the end of the day, it's just what football is. We enjoy the spectacle. It's
we
big
just
shame.
sold our soul to the highest bidder, basically.
But that's what the world is. The world is
listen,
the ones
you're
with the
right.
most money. Do you get what I'm saying? And we've just got to enjoy the spectacle and then not really pay too much into them, because there's not really a hell of a lot we can do.
I don't want
Doesn't
people,
make it right.
100% spot on. I don't want people to get my kind of views on it in general to be mixed with not being happy for Newcastle.
Yeah,
like,
no, you've gave your honest opinion that you don't think overnight they're going to be like a big top 4 team. That's a very
that's
fair
not to
enough
say
statement.
that in 3 or 4 or 5 years they could be really, really challenging us, and you'd look back at that clip and go, "Oh, I told you." Whatever, that's fine. But I don't want people to cloud my kind of dual thoughts on this, because in one sense I am happy for Newcastle fans. They've gone through the mire, but then on the other side, it's, do all your morals go out the window just because you can afford Mbappe and get a Champions League?
But it's not the Newcastle fans' fault, though.
You can't blame them. You can't blame them. And if it was Stoke, we'd be saying the same about Stoke or, Yeovil.
Or us. Say if FSG left and then these owners came in, why are we just going to stop supporting Liverpool? Because because we support the team, we support the club. And again, it doesn't make it right, but you don't have to support what they do at the end of the day. And they've got that much money where it doesn't really matter what we say.
Crazy,
it just doesn't.
Man. Well, be interesting to see when we next play Newcastle what kind of banter the fans are sharing with each other. It's going to be a good one. Don't worry about that.
The only player I actually see staying in that Newcastle team, in terms of what they've got at the moment, is St. Maximin.
I knew you were going to say that.
He could honestly,
he's easily their best player.
He could be the player, right, that they look back on it. Say if they get Champions League in the next 5 years, they could look at him as like the way we had Mane. Like the first piece of the jigsaw of what rebuilt Liverpool. Like, that's what St. Maximin, I think, will be to them. Or Wijnaldum,
even
100%.
Before that. Big one, Newcastle. Big up to the Magpie channel as well.
Absolutely.
Right, quickly before we go, Liam Smith, fighter from the Rotunda Gym in Liverpool, big red.
Kirkdale, lad, that's where I'm
from. Did the business in the M&S Bank Arena.
Done the job. Shout out to Anthony Fowler as well, though, because he's done a fucking great job in the fight.
8th round.
8th round. Yeah. But the thing is, though, it takes two good fighters to make a spectacle like that. First of all, Liam did say that he didn't really want to take this fight because he felt he was just too many levels above. He thought it was kind of disrespectful. But I understood why he was given the fight, because it sells out the M&S Arena in Liverpool, which Liam's never done by himself.
That's like 9,000 capacity. So
and Andy Fowler's never done that himself, whereas they both came together. They were able to sell out that stadium, and it was a fucking like, even when Liam came out, it was booming. The walkout was brilliant.
Unbelievable.
And then the bout came, and it weren't just one-sided. Andy Fowler had a shot in the earlier round, which is, the fight went how most thought it would go. And the way I see it right now, Anthony Fowler is a European-level fighter. Liam is a world-class level fighter. And even though there's only 3 years between them, even though Liam's got the grey hair and whatnot, it's
Liam's
like
33, I think.
Yeah. So 3 years between them. So Liam's 33, Anthony's 30. You could see that Liam just had so much more experience above Fowler that it just weren't really fit. So when it gets to them last few rounds, it doesn't matter now. Liam knows how to take a shot, and then he knows how to give one back as well. So that's why in them later rounds, it just seemed to have been a little bit too much for Fowler. He gassed out, and Liam was pressuring him like a motherfucker. Like, you've probably done a few sparring sessions before. When you're fighting someone or boxing someone that is pressing you down and you're on your back foot, that is a horrible place to be in terms of fatigue and whatnot.
Just
and you're
leaning
overthinking,
on you as well.
just leaning on you, and that's what Liam does. He's one of the most high-pressing fighters. He's fought the likes of Canelo. He's fought the best of the best that this fucking game has to offer, and he has that experience. So
3 defeats, I think, 28 fights.
Defeats,
28 wins, 3 defeats. I think his last defeat was out in Russia or somewhere, and then before that was Canelo Alvarez, which, again, is a fight that you would expect Canelo to win. I'm not being funny. And Liam probably knows that before. But the thing I loved, big up to Liam as well, we're speaking to him. We were going to chat to him before the fight, but we will get him on one of the podcasts very soon, I promise you that. But what I loved as well, listen, you mentioned Eddie Hearn and being able to sell the fight. That was never not going to sell out that fight, because two Scousers that in the build-up didn't shake each other's hand in weigh-ins.
But that's why it made sense.
Yeah, but they kept it hot to sell.
Liam lost his last fight. I mean, I thought he won the fight because it went
I
to a
thought
decision.
He won the fight.
But he lost on paper. He lost. It's an L.
It's an L.
Eddie Hearn, in his point of view as a promoter, he has to go to him and be like, listen, I know you think you won, and that sounds, but for the purpose of actually building you up, I think it's important that we get you an occasion, a night that you can remember, and then both of you can sell out that arena, give your city a great fucking time, and then you've got a win on your belt, more importantly, a finish on your belt, and then you can go back in with the world-class level fighters. And Anthony Fowler, by the way, you know, I speak to Anthony Fowler sometimes, he supports what I do. He is someone who will bounce back better from this. This has only benefited him. He can still say he sold out the M&S arena, he can still say he put on a show, he can still say he put up a fight, and he's actually going to learn from it. So I feel like it's not beneficial for both fighters. I think this pans out the perfect way. I really, really do, because I don't think there's any losers.
Yeah, Liam Smith had the support of, Carragher. They were all celebrating after.
They had a belt a little time, Andy Grant was there as well. He just had a little
bad. He was there as well. Big up to Andy Grant. But I also saw Liam Smith was playing for his footy team the day after.
Top man.
So it's unbelievable.
He left the fight rather unscathed. He ate a few big shots, but he left the fight rather unscathed.
Oh no, he's still got. Listen, he's got a black eye, and I'm sure that he'll get over that. But he had to win that one for him to get another chance to fight someone like a Saul again, or Canelo. Sorry, Saul Alvarez. I mean, I'm massively behind him, so let's make sure he gets that big fight again.
It's like beefy, lads.
Sold out the Bank Arena, can't beat that. Right, we're going to wrap it up there. Hot Kopics episode 10, myself and James Redmond.
Wait. Wilder and Fury, what did you reckon? That quick before we wrap up.
What happened was what I thought would happen,
Yeah.
apart from Fury getting knocked down twice. If you look at it on paper, Wilder down 4 times, Fury wins in what round was it again? 11th round. I mean, Fury was saying all along that he'd finish it before that, but we know how boxers say these things. 11th round, Wilder didn't have the legs. Yes, he still got him. That big one on the back of the head, the one on the chin.
Yeah.
Fury still went down twice, which is still a massive achievement. And you have to say the heart, the passion, the desire, you can't fault Wilder for that. But just get back in your box, fella.
Wilder
at the same time.
I'm
Wilder touched him, but also know your place now. Because the excuses.
I disagree with all that. I disagree with all that. And like you, I was very confident Fury was going to win this fight. Like if I was going to bet me house, it'd be 100% going on Fury. But it takes two to make one of the greatest heavyweight fights of what we've seen in recent history. And I will tell you now, Alex, that was one of the greatest fights that I've seen in my life in terms of two heavyweights. And the thing that boxing has been losing is that element of a spectacle. And that was a spectacle. Because even though Deontay is nowhere near the level in terms of boxing ability, he's nowhere near Fury. And Fury is on another level to most. But I think the only one who can chat to him, boxing ability, is Usyk. Ability-wise. And in this fight, when I saw him knock him down twice, I'm thinking to myself, no fucking way, because he just touches people. It's literally just, you saw the second knockdown, it was like a tap to the head, and it's like, it hit him on the back of the head, and I understand why it knocked him down, but it ends up making me, because I said before the fight, this fight shouldn't be made. He's lost to Fury twice, even though one of them was a draw, he got battered in that fight. Even when he knocked him down in the first fight, the Fury got back up and swatted him. So I didn't see the purpose of this fight. Now I do, because Wilder can just end a fight like that. There's been many times before where he's losing fights and he's gone ahead and won it through a knockout. Fury's just a tough motherfucker and it weren't enough. So it was a great fight to see.
Yeah, but Wilder will continue to knock people out. I think AJ comes up against him. AJ's in trouble.
Yeah.
I think.
Look at some of the big shots he had against Usyk. Imagine hitting that against Wilder.
Well, yeah, he's going down.
And I like AJ as well.
Yeah, I love AJ, but at the end of the day, Fury has proved again that he's still the greatest, and he's yet to be beaten in that title. But anyway, Hot Kopics episode 10, my brother James. Remember, like, comment and subscribe. Go and follow James Redmond. We will be, when are Liverpool playing next? So we've got the Watford
Saturday.
Maybe do a watch along for that if I don't actually go to it, because I'm still thinking about that. I've got a match preview for Watford with Emma Coney-Bear tomorrow down in London. And then next week we are back in the Champions League.
Oh yeah!
So we're away to Atletico, and then after that we're back up. We're away again to United, then Preston, then we're at home to Brighton.
Some big games.
So a really busy period for Liverpool. Can we escape through it unscathed? We'll find out. Whoa! Just before you go,
don't forget, give us a like, drop us a comment, and subscribe to the Kop TV.
The voice of football's most famous stand.